This lesson is about bending strings. The very first thing we're going to do is talk about how I physically bend a string, or what a good guideline is. A lot of times when people see this stuff in tablature, or they watch other people do it and they try and steal a lick, they try to just push with the fingers. All right, and there's not a whole lot of power right there. If you watch kind of from this angle, you see all this right here gives me a lot of control. You know, when I try to do that with the fingers, it's just not very strong. So that's kind of the first thing, is that the motion is kind of like that: the hand, the forearm. All right, you want it all coming from here, not so much just pushing the fingers around. The second thing is that when I'm playing on the first three strings, I generally tend to bend up. But if I'm playing on the fourth, fifth, and sixth strings, I'll pull down. One of the reasons is because, you know, if you're on these strings and you push up, you're going to run off the edge of the neck. The other thing, it just kind of makes it a little bit easier for me. Just personal preference, I guess. But it just seems to work a little bit better. Now, a bend is basically a way of getting from one note to another. It's an articulation. I can take the 8th fret on the 2nd string and hammer onto the 10th fret on that string. And that's one way of doing that. I can pick both notes, or I can bend both notes. Bends, a lot of times they get kind of treated like it's just a technique, and people don't seem to realize that there's actually an idea that you're still playing a melody with it. It's not just something that you do a physical motion. It still has to be in time, and it still has to be in tune. So that's what this lesson really is going to be about today. It's just the idea of getting from one note to another in tune, and hopefully in time. The first exercise we're going to do here is just practicing whole note, or whole steps. And a whole step is the distance between two notes with a space in the middle. Not all here today. So if we're on the 5th fret on the 2nd string, and that's going to be our target note. That's the note we want to bend up to. We're going to go back to the 3rd fret, which is a whole step below, and then practice bending that up. So your ear is going to hear the target note. You're going to come back and then bend up. You do that a couple times, then we're going to move the whole exercise up a fret. So we're going to, target note will be the F on the 6th fret, 2nd string. Go back to the 4th fret, a whole step down, and do the bend. Just continue up the fretboard. Really listen to the target note, and then practice getting the bend. Alright, and continue on up the neck. You can do it on any string. I'm not going to do the whole exercise because this will be like a 40-minute video of really boring stuff. But that's the first one, just doing whole steps. We can do them on any string. You do it on the 4th string. The next one we're going to do is going to be half steps. And a half step is just the distance between 2 frets. So if I'm playing this 5th fret, that was our first target note, and we're going to go back a half step down to the 4th fret and just make the bend up. Do it a couple times, get it stuck in your head, move up a fret. Now, if you play a lot of blues music, a lot of the standard vocabulary doesn't have too much in the way of half-step bends. It's a lot of a whole step and step and a half bends. But when you start playing more diatonic scales, major, minor, the modes like Dorian, you know, you're going to start having licks like that where having a bend up to the next note will mean a half step, not just the whole step that we're used to doing. The very last one that we're going to do in terms of the actual bending itself is going to be a step and a half bend. Sometimes, like you'd be playing a minor pentatonic scale, and you'll find, well, the next note from here is up here, which is actually a 1.5 steps. Here's your whole step, and then to here would be the other half step. That takes a lot of oomph. Alright, so we've got half steps, we've got whole steps, and then we've got step and a half bends.